Hi guys, I am supposed to be making chocolate chip cookies for a Super Bowl party, but I wanted to do a video real quick. My dog wanted to say hi first. Okay, buddy. I just learned something that I thought was so cool and just kind of put some things together for me, and I wanted to share them with you. But I'm doing some research on something called a Myo Munchie, and it's like a silicone device that you put in your mouth and you kind of chew. It helps with a lot of things, but one of the things that I'm really researching right now is just the development of the jaw and teeth and things for children. And something that they mentioned that I've learned this bits and pieces, but this just kind of put it all together for me. They mentioned that babies up to 6 months old, their primary source of food is either breast milk or formula. So they're sucking. So they're working on that suck, swallow, breathe pattern all in one. And that's how they survive. And so binkies are okay for that because it's encouraging that, or pacifiers, or some countries call it dummies. But the problem is we tend to hold on to those and let the children continue with those, and they can cause actually more harm than good after 6 months old, because after 6 months, at about 5 to 6 months old, they start transitioning from the suck, swallow, breathe to chew, swallow, breathe. And if you've had toddlers or little ones, you'll know that they start teething and they're wanting something to chew on. They'll grab the toy. That's why we all buy those toys. I've gotten people banana toys that they sit there and chew on, which are great. But that is then working on the chew, swallow, breathe. But the problem with that is, I mean, that's what they need. The problem on me as a mother, I've had 4 children that I've, baby fed and everything. I would give them then baby food, and you start as liquidy as it could be, and then you build it up to thicker, and they stay on that until maybe a year old, and at a year old they start getting the more solid foods, maybe a little more before that. But that was the prime time, like at 5, 6 months old, depending on the child. They're all different, but that's the prime time of when you want to start building these muscles in the bone. And just from, anatomy itself, whenever bone has pressure on it, it actually builds more and more. The bone will get thicker in order to handle that pressure. So when bodybuilders or anybody who lifts weights, and actually women who have osteoporosis, it's recommended that you lift weights because it actually causes the bone to build thicker to be able to handle that pull and that pressure. Well, whenever we chew, more and more pressure in our jaws, it actually helps develop and grow the bone and the joint and the jaw and everything. Well, when our babies are being fed pureed food and really, really liquidy rice or oatmeal, they're not using the bone and this joint and these muscles, and it is impacting the way the development of the palate and the facial structures and the jaw. All this is being developed or underdeveloped because we aren't utilizing it enough. We're not giving enough force. And if you think about way back in the day before they had food processors, and they would go around and eat whatever they had. They'd give the children, the babies at a certain age, when they were done nursing to a point, they would just kind of give them food that the other people were eating. The older people, they would just make sure, obviously, it was safe for them to eat, but that would then follow the natural development of the teeth growing in and wanting to gnaw and giving them something to chew and gnaw and develop all this at the same time. So how do we change that? There is something called baby-led weaning that I haven't looked tons into. I did just a little research and it looks really good, and I wish I'd done this with my children. But you just kind of feed them little bits of what you're eating while you're eating it. Only make sure it's healthy and not processed. Our foods just tend to be, oh, sorry, my dog wants to join in again. Our foods tend to be overprocessed, and not just even for little ones, but even for teenagers, just the whole growth, even up to adults. We just have really weak jaws. And I had to guess, that's why in general, and I see this every day in my hygiene chair, everybody's having to get braces and more Herbst appliance, which it brings that lower jaw forward because we have underdeveloped jaws, likely because we're just not utilizing them and giving them something to work out with and eating when you're younger. Okay, so what can we do about that? The baby-led weaning is a great way if anybody wants to research that. If they have little ones, little babies, or know somebody with little ones, I would highly recommend checking into that. Another thing is called a Myo Munchie, and that's what I'm digging into. I've heard a lot about it. I know about it, but just digging more, it is something that can take the place of a pacifier. So if you have a baby who's 6 months old, and they feel that need to chew and have something in there, instead of doing the sucking from the pacifier, you want to give them something now to chew on. And the Mayo Munchie is perfect for that. It's something that you put in your mouth that looks like a knight or a football guard kind of a thing, mouth guard. But they put it in, and it can encourage the ideas that their lips are together while they're chewing on it, and they chew on it, and it just gives them something to do, which many of them love doing. But it builds these muscles, works on lip closure, breathing through the nose, and then tongue up. It's like everything good. It emphasizes that. So I'm going to dig into this more. I do have access to those if anybody wants one. There's different sizes they have. So like 6-month-old, they would need the BEBE size one and can work through that. But they actually have them all the way up to adults, and they do help with periodontal disease and things because it activates just the blood flow and stuff. Just when you're munching and you're chewing, it gets things blood flowing and things going. But more on that later. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all. That was very interesting, that we really need to be working on jaw development on our little ones, and that helps with structure, helps with growth, helps with jaw, helps with joints, helps with, even when you search the baby-led weaning, just lack of allergies because kids are exposed to real foods more. But that in turn, as far as the jaw and structure, can help with sleep issues because things are developing the way they're supposed to. The airway is developing the way it's supposed to because the jaw is, and so many things to this. But I'll keep y'all updated as I learn more information. Hope this was helpful.